About 5 years ago, we were discussing fire issues at one of our homeowners meetings, and the county fire department came out and offered to come look at our home and give us an evaluation. Captain Watson at that time was running the fire crews for the Salt Lake County Fire Department. And he told us that we were in a very high fire danger area and that it was to our advantage to start thinking about doing some maintenance on our property. Typically what we had was what you see behind us. The trees had limbed down to the ground. As you can see, the trees down in this area here have been limbed up, and most of this was done last year to improve our fire safety. We removed a lot of the sagebrush up here. The secondary trimming that we have done up in this area was done by the state fire crews out of the point of the mountain early last spring when they had available time, and we had some funding by the state to bring the crews in here. They came in and trimmed the trees and then took the limbs and chipped them up and provided a mulch, which we were able to use and spread around the house. Not only did they do it to our property, but probably about 20 other homes up here volunteered and got involved in supporting that activity. 2 years ago, we were up in Jackson Hole, and I got a call from my nephew. He said that looking from his home out in Harriman, that our hill was on fire behind us. Well, being we were 500 miles away, there wasn't much we could do about it, and so we basically picked up camp and came home the next day. But we weren't as worried as we would have been, because if the fire had crested over the top of the mountain and run down the hill, we had a defensible space around our home. We developed, with the county's approval, a bigger driveway so that the fire engines could get up here and defend our home. But also the fact that we had trimmed the trees back, reduced the grasses and the sagebrush 50 to 100 feet from our home, reduced the potential for the fire to come into our house. So again, we weren't as concerned as we would have been. Had we not done the work that we've done, the fire crews would have probably put the red bark on our driveway and gone on down to the next home, to one that has the capability of being defended. And that's one thing that we have to look at is, can your house be defended? Because if it can't, the fire crews don't want to risk their lives defending something that you're not willing to work at and try and defend it yourself. So that aspect of living in this type of terrain has to be first and foremost in your mind is, would you be willing to risk your life to save this house, knowing that the owner wasn't willing to trim the trees and make the effort himself to make it fire safe? When the Salt Lake County Fire Department came in and surveyed our property initially, they took a look at our driveway, and it was about half as wide as it is currently. They said, fire trucks can't come up here. We need you to widen it. And I said, oh my God, you can't cut my trees down. And they said, we need to trim some of them back, widen the driveway so that we can get our fire trucks up in here and be able to turn them around and get out of here if we have to. So the crews came in and chopped down 5 or 6 trees down the driveway and opened it up so that we had a wider driveway. We didn't change the view coming up, but we did widen it so that the trucks can get up here and get up here safely and get out of here safely if they had to. So they did a tremendous job in protecting our privacy, but they also widened it and made it a more survivable area for them to come into. During that survey, the fire department also looked at our driveway, and we had about half the space up here that we currently have. And they said it needs to be widened so that the fire trucks can be turned around. And the one thing that you can end up with, and I think we have done that to a certain extent, is it looks more like a park now. It's a little bit more open without it being really open.
Right. We enjoy it a lot more.
We get to see the wildlife a whole lot more. The deer run through here, the wild turkeys are through here, the quail, the red fox, we've seen a few, some coyotes. You're able to see and appreciate the game. You know, there are people that live in environments like this that won't trim their trees, saying, we have this wonderful environment and we don't want to lose it. Well, you know, it's like everything else, it's a little bit of a compromise. But be honest with you, I don't think it's any compromise. I like it better. It's a cleaner looking environment, and it's refreshing. You know, it's coming home to our own little camp in the mountains. So we enjoy it immensely.
Behind you. Did you hear?
Yeah.
Do you have one of them? There she goes. A lot of people ask us when they come up this way if it was all worth it, because when we first moved up here, we did not know what it was to be in a fire zone and in a fire area as we are right now. It is worth it. It's a lot of work. But the main thing that everybody seems to forget is it could happen to you. And when we started this whole process, the education that we received from the Bureau of Land Management and the fire crews, that instilled in us that it could happen to us. And it was imperative that we took immediate steps to do what we've done here to make ourselves more fire safe. But it's a great environment, but you have to work at it every single year and make sure that you're maintaining the property so that you are in a safe zone.